There are explosions in Israel near Jerusalem. An eyewitness says at least 3 rockets have just been intercepted by Israel's missile defense system. A CNN team in Jerusalem heard several blasts. Our correspondent Diana Magna is in Ashkelon in Israel and joins me. Diana, what's the situation? What's been heard and where?
Well, Richard, just an hour ago there was a barrage of rocket fire over our heads here. The air raid sirens sounding on their way north towards the cities of Ashdod, Tel Aviv. At the same time, the air raid sirens went off in Jerusalem, and that was when our producers heard the explosions there. It seems that Iron Dome, the Israeli missile defense system, is being put to very effective use right now. It has intercepted 2 rockets, one of which was intercepted over Tel Aviv itself, and we've seen pictures of that on Israeli media, one of which was intercepted just south of Tel Aviv, also over Jerusalem. So what we're seeing now is that Hamas is stepping up its operations, sending long-range missiles as far as Tel Aviv and possibly also beyond. And this is what the Israelis were scared of. Up till now, they've been using much shorter-range missiles, but they did threaten that if Israel was going to continue its airstrikes into Gaza, that they would extend their range, and that's what they're doing, Richard.
Now, from the Israeli side, how far is this operation that's now got a name? How far is Israel in its own military action pushing forward?
Well, this today has been an extremely aggressive assault by Israeli defense forces on targets within the Gaza Strip. Something like 150 airstrikes on what the Israelis say is are terror infrastructure targets, so terror tunnels that Hamas has supposedly been digging out towards Israel, weapons stores, also the homes of Hamas militants. But also there have been casualties here, not just of Hamas leaders, but also, for example, 7 people on a roof of a family home belonging to one of those leaders, 2 children killed in that attack. So there have been some extremely aggressive action by Israel, and we're also hearing that they, we now know the Israeli government say that they want to call up 40,000 reservists for possible ground maneuvers within Gaza. Now, that's still a hypothetical, but literally every hour here, Richard, it feels as though the situation is becoming graver and graver. So it would seem as though the possibility of using ground troops to really clear out Hamas infrastructure, which airstrikes can't reach, is becoming a closer eventuality. Richard?
Diana, I just wanted to finish on that note and talk to you about that point. Because to anybody watching tonight, hearing the increased Israeli effort against Hamas in Gaza, hearing tonight of Hamas's rockets heading towards Tel Aviv, sirens in Jerusalem, one's left with this undeniable scenario of a deeply deteriorating situation.
Well, absolutely, and clearly one day of airstrikes is not enough to paralyse Hamas's rocket terrorism, which is the way the Israelis describe it. In fact, it would appear as though Hamas is going on the offensive. Just down the road from us here, along the coast, there was an incursion. We don't yet know whether the militants came by dinghy or whether they swam. They were armed with Kalashnikovs. They were armed with grenades. 5 were killed by Israeli defense forces. But think about it. This is astonishing that militants can leave Gaza, make a raid into Israeli territory via the sea. You know, things are ramping up a notch. And last time, end 2012, there was 9 days of airstrikes on the Gaza Strip, trying to take out their rocket-making capabilities. But Egypt then mediated a ceasefire. So things basically were kept on a keep the status quo as it is. Egypt this time round does not have such good relations with Hamas. They're not probably going to be able to broker that kind of ceasefire. And nothing was eradicated in terms of Hamas's terror infrastructure. And perhaps now the Israeli government is turning around and going, we're going to finish the job that we didn't finish then.